Alright guys, we're doing our first lesson in our series, how to play piano chords and how to understand chords. This will be good for you if you're a beginner or if you've played chords your whole life and you just like to know what you're doing and how the chords fit together, because there is reason behind it. There is logic in how chords fit together and how they work within a key. So that's what we're doing. Hello, I'm Shawn. Welcome to my Easy Piano Lessons. I hope you enjoy this series. This is kind of my response to a guy on YouTube who for the last year has been basically impersonating me. And guys, I'm not talking about just copying my lessons that I do, but copying my whiteboards exactly the way I set it up, the little markings that I use, saying the same catchphrases that I use, the dumb things that I always say. He puts it in there too, and this is kind of a response to that. He's started some chord videos, and they're just not very good. I hate to say it, but he doesn't know what he's doing, and I'd like you guys to know what you're doing. So I'm going to put this out in response to that. I've been teaching this stuff before this guy was born. I've been dating myself now. I've been teaching for about 23 years, and I'm going to give you the way that I have always taught, or the way that I've developed over these years. So let's get started here. We don't want to just jump in and start playing chords, and then we could do that, but we need to understand what the chords are and how they're made, okay? But to do that, we've got to understand the building blocks of chords first, and that is something called the major scale. You've heard this before. All right, I've played many scales in my life. I've had to do, in college you have to do, all kinds of scales, all kinds of ways, hours and hours. And I'm glad I did it now, but I would hate to have to undertake that again. Scales are very important. They're to be understood, and they'll actually help your technique if you'll work on them correctly for a while. But let's understand the scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now to finger that, I just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? The major scale has 7 letters in it. And I said letters because I don't want to say notes. I don't want to confuse you. It's 7 letters. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Or I said C again, but the C is a repeat of the first C. So we're not going to count that letter again. Because then once we get to C, we just start over and we start counting the letters again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 what we call scale degrees. Okay? So C is the first scale degree, D is the second, E is the third, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the key of C. If we're in the key of C, C is our home base. It's our mother note that we go back to, that we end the piece in. We end on C. So C is home, okay? So that's the 1. Everything's measured from that C. Alright, now if we start from C and go to D, this is a formula that we can use for any major scale. I'm going to show you the formula, and then we can play in 5 flats or 6 flats or however many sharps we want, as long as we use this formula. Here's the formula. When you go from C to D, it's called a whole step. That's why I have a W there. Okay? It's a whole step because we go from one letter to the very next letter, but we skip a note in between. So that's a whole step. Now, to get from the second scale degree to the third one, we have another whole step from D to E, okay, because we skip the D sharp, so C, D, E. Now, there's what we call a natural half step on the piano from E to F. This is why all instrumentalists in college have to take piano lessons, because you can see the distances between notes so easy on the keyboard that you can if you're playing a trombone or a clarinet or something. But you can see E to F is a natural half step, because there's no note in between. Alright, so that's called a half step. And then we're going to go a whole step from our 4th scale degree to our 5th one. Alright, so F to G is a whole step. G to A is also a whole step from 5 to 6. Now 6 to 7 is also a whole step. Now watch the last one though. When we go from 7 to 1, it's not 7 to 8 now because C is number 1. We're not going to rename it. It's still 1 in the key of C. We have a half step. Okay? So B to C is a half step. So here's the formula. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And it's 2 tetrachords. We call it tetrachords. C, D, E to F is a tetrachord. And then G, A, B, C is a tetrachord. Notice the half step happens at the same place. You have 3 notes and a half step. And in this one you have 3 notes and then a half step. Alright, so 2 tetrachords make up that major scale, Ionian scale. So if you want to play it, you can just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, na, 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 3, 2, 1. Passing the thumb under is a little hard for people. Getting that thumb under. Left hand is the opposite way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Crossover with 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Thumb comes under. Pass the thumb under easy. Don't make a big deal about it. Just slide it under. Okay, and that's where you get speed and technique. It's not making a big bump when the thumb comes under. Alright, so that's the first thing we're going to do in learning chords. We haven't played a chord today because we don't need to yet. Okay? My opponent just jumped in playing chords and all that, but you need to understand the major scale first before we build chords on it. So understand this, play the scale degrees, and get used to that, and then we'll go to lesson 2.